My goodness, you look terrible.
I am just so sick that they are not letting me use Weebly for my student web assignments anymore.
Don't worry. You can now use Google Sites to make your student portfolios.
You don't say. Maybe Alan will show us how?
Did someone mention my name? Glad to help. Just watch and learn.
Well, I know many of you like to have the students make websites using your ePortal sites or Weebly, and since that's gone away, we want to come up with a good alternative, and I think we found one here with Google Sites. And Google Sites have been turned on for all the IELTS teachers, not yet for students, although if you're watching this video in the future that may not be true. But I'm going to show you a way of using Google Sites with your students even if they don't have Google Sites turned on for them yet, but they can still make websites, and you can use it for portfolios and different kinds of assignments. It's kind of a cool solution here. So let's take a look at this. So I'm in Google Sites here, sites.google.com. You have to be logged into your Google account, of course. And I'm going to just use a blank template here, and I'm going to say create. Oh, you have to name it. So I'm going to say I'm going to call this one Student Portfolios. And I'm going to go ahead and now hit create. And sometimes it can take a little bit. Oh, it says that's already in use. So I'll say Student Portfolios. Let's try that. Student Portfolios. So I'm going to create that. And it can be a little slow sometimes creating these pages, but they do show up eventually. Don't be impatient. Think nice thoughts. Summer. Okay, here we go. See, that wasn't too bad. So now I've got a home page, and in my home page, if I click this little pen tool, of course I can add some things in here. I can add graphics if I go into insert. I can take things out of my Google Drive if I want documents or presentations or anything embedded right in there. A map, maybe I want to put a Google map in there, something. But I'm going to just put some instructions here. I'm going to say post your work on your page, and that's it for now. I'm going to make this really simple because we're in a hurry. So I'm going to go now. One thing you're going to find is a little bit not as good as you do have to save in Google Sites. It doesn't automatically save. It'll save a draft, but it won't publish until you hit that save button. So now I've got this one page, and I'm going to add another page here. So I'm going to click, and now I want to create a page for each of my students, and I'm just going to create 2 student pages. So I'm going to call them Student 1, and I'm going to put this under the home button so that they'll all sort of line up under there. And you've got some templates to use. I could do a file cabinet. I could do a start page, a list. But I'm just going to leave this very simple. So I'm just going to keep it at the web page. Again, I'm going to hit create. And we'll have some other lessons on what those other things do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And then I'm going to make another page for my second student. And we'll call this student student 2. How's that for creative? And I'm going to put this not under student 1. I want to put it under home. So I'm going to go over here to choose a different location, choose the home, and create. And so now when I go back here, notice I've got home, and then underneath home is student 1, student 2. Okay. And so now what we can do is save again. Now I want to make this so that student 1 can only write on his page or her page, and student 2 can only write on her page. So I'm going to go ahead, I can hit the home key here, and I'm going to go down and manage sites. And in the manage sites area, you can see all of the different things that you can do here to this. But what I want to do is go to sharings and permissions, and I could have gone directly from here. Now, first thing you see is this thing has to be changed because it's saying that anyone can access, find, and edit this page who has a Department of Defense login. So I'm going to change that to only specific people. So that's very important that you do that. Okay. And now, since I've set it for specific people, I can put in the names of the other people I want. So I'm going to go ahead and use my other email addresses. So I have alan.silverstein, and I have my home email address. So I'm going to put those in there. Now I could have it notify, send them a link basically that they can then edit. And with your students, you might want to do that so it's easy for them to find the site. You can see the URL would otherwise be fairly long, but I'm not going to send it to myself. I don't need to do that. So, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that. So it gives you a little warning there. Now, here comes the next very important thing, is I want to enable page level permissions. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on page, and what that allows me to do is set specific access to individual pages. And notice here, if I sit there, you can see I have student 1 and student 2. So right now, at the site level, I've said that they all can edit. So I want to just make this so they can view. And I'm going to save that. So I have two, even though they both say Alan Silverstein, they're two different, notice they're two different email addresses. So imagine they're two different people. Now I'm going to go to student 1, and here's the important thing. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say change, and I'm going to say use custom permissions, and I'm going to say do not add new users to this page. And I'm going to hit save. So now notice the icon there comes in, and it shows me that this is being, and so this, for the Alan Silverstein at student.dodia, I'm going to say that's going to be student 1 so they can edit. I'm going to save changes. Now, this other person, student 2, can view that one. If I wanted to make it so they can't view, just click that X, they'll go away from that page, and they can neither see or edit the page. But right now I want them to be able to see what the other students are doing. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that at view. Now let's go to student 2. And again, I have to go up here to change custom permissions. Save. And now I want, so remember this one, student 1 was the Alan Silverstein at student.dodia.edu. And notice they flipped around, so you got to be careful that you're looking at the name and not just the position in the list. So here I'm going to make it so that this one can edit and that one can view. Okay, so now this one, Alan Silverstein at student, can edit. This one, Alan Silverstein at gmail.com, can edit. So you see I've set up so that each student can have their own personal page on there. Now if the student comes in and does that and they add additional pages under here, it will inherit the permissions from that page, so only they can still edit even pages they add beneath that one. So as long as they put that underneath their page, they'll maintain that that ownership of that page. Okay, so that's all there is really to it. I can go back now and look at the site, and again you can do sorts of different things. Now you, as the owner of the site, can of course edit any of these. So you could go in and put comments on your student portfolio pages if you wanted, or something like that. Right now comments is open so that people can comment on here, but you can take that away easily in page settings here. So you go to page settings and you can take that comments off real easily. Put a description in there. You can do a lot of things. So and that's it so far. So hopefully this was useful, and you'll be able to start creating those wonderful student portfolios and assignments using Google Sites. And remember, your Google Sites does not have to be turned on for students, so they can't be creating their own websites. They can only access Google Sites through this shared permission of those pages. Thank you. Bye.
Wow. That works for me. Now, can you help me with the bill so I can get out of here and try it with my student?